BDS and KOI as we get into draft. BDS on the blue side, which we still know is favored. As we've got to start labeling off these picks that every single game seem to be priority takeaways. Jace amongst them as well, especially when you're going up into strong top lanes like Myrwn and Irrelevant.
But it's also how much respect do you give to the off picks, or sorry, the kind of pocket picks that we see coming through from guys like Myrwn, right?
Yep. 3
games on the Aurora. Well, there you go. It's going to be banned away. It has been such a staple pick for him. He's even gone back towards even more AP picks like Vianney that have been a little bit more off meta. So he is definitely someone that likes to take these AP top laners to open up like the Yones and the Corkis for Jojopyun in that mid lane.
Where Irrelevant's still been playing like basics like he's been playing Cassante when no one will touch it as well. So it does feel like Irrelevant, maybe more of a role player here. Is speaking of roles, Rel, the final takeaway off with the engage. Just talking and thinking about Myrwn on something like Rumble, Irrelevant will be happy to take that as a first pick as well.
Yeah, I'm curious what you want to try and go for on the opposite side though, because the Skarner up and available if Elyoya would like to try and go back towards that. Especially when you see a Rumble on the opposite side, there's a tendency to say, hey, we are going to have some sort of dive to enable this Rumble, so you do get value from the Skarner pick. But Varus and Azir immediately locked in, trying to make things okay for themselves.
Well, standard stuff, isn't it? I mean, here in Europe, and I know slowly, as I've been watching LPL as usual, this Azir is becoming more and more stable, or at least more and more favourite, I should say, as well. So we got KOI, the makings of what could be a front-to-back here is on the other side, 1-1-3. Does he get the pass? I think Ben said he gets the pass for Nidalee. I know a couple other junglers have said the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, I was going to say, I think in this game it would have been a little tough. You already have Step on the top side, plus then your top and your jungler AP. Yone, which is your premier AD mid laner, is already taken away. Which means you have to slam an AD mid of like Tristana or a Lucian or something for a nuke. So I just don't think this was really the spot for it. But Skarner going to be taken. Now you've got the Silas as well. And now it becomes a question mark of how does Elyoya want to respond? Do you just go back towards the... Oh, it's not going to be the side, it's going to be Taliyah, but do you just go towards the Sejuani and try and set yourself up with some sort of front line? Or, well, it looks like they're going to try and play at range. So basically say, hey, look, we've got long-range poke in the Azir and Varus. Let's try and enable that with this Ivern as well and just play for this range so the Skarner does not get value here.
And as we've learned as well, Ivern is like the premier take into the Skarner matchup as well. But a really good call on how it sets up the team here, as it is going to be the first Ivern for Elyoya this split, but definitely not something we're akin to, or I mean not used to rather.
So if I'm BDS, I'm banning Leona. Like this is kind of your upfront non-committal engage that you can try and pair with this, and make like using that solar flare so you don't actually have to close the distance is perfect. Surprised by the Braum, because I think at this stage MKOI definitely needs some sort of engage in their draft, but yeah, I think the Leona more than likely going to follow. Maybe even a Nautilus could be the other option as well. Whereas in the opposite side for MKOI, as you said, the fact you had to or you've opted in towards your mid laner early for BDS opens up these AD carry bans, and now you're kind of forcing ice onto maybe something like the Ezreal, which isn't great into Varus. Maybe even a Caitlyn, maybe the option here for the bottom line. Like we've seen that a little bit more over in the LCK.
Yeah, things like Jhin have been played, Civ has been played as well. Misfortune often glazed over. It's funny to see the ban here, but again, targeted towards Ice, who is one of the few AD carries who still looks at it. Dagda, you called out that Leona. That was a good tidbit as another form of engage taken away by BDS by the strongest AD carry, left open by Supa.
So it's Myrwn's top Varus?
I guess it is. I didn't even register that. I just assumed. I was like, oh, hang on a minute.
Because this was something he played with the
Locket
Virtue. The Virtue.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. Virtue back in the day, but I wasn't expecting to try and bring it out in this case, but still, strong AD carry in the top lane that can find a ton of push and poke, and we'll have to see how this goes. I mean, Rumble doesn't really fare particularly well into range, and now you're just adding more range and more poke into the comp.
How to pinch Ice's pool even further. Bring in 2 AD carries instead of 1. We don't need no Tristana mid. I glazed over that, seeing the Varus, and yeah, now Ice's option looks like it might be something like the Ashe left up. Again, we already talked about some team fighting AD carries here, but Dagda, they want to play on the pick with a big question mark, maybe add a bit of range as well. Ashe definitely feels like it fits into the comp thematically to finish up for BDS.
Okay, so they're going to go with the Alistar. I thought, again, like, as you say, try and find something with some non-committal. I think you're kind of out of options, though, but something that can do well into the Nautilus. You pulverize the hook from the Nautilus, and you're able to walk out of it, so pretty nice. Ashe trying to find that engage tool to follow up on, as you said, what's a pretty long-range composition for Movistar KOI. So BDS basically hoping and praying they can close that gap, whereas Movistar KOI trying everything to keep their hands on the heads of BDS and keep them at arm's length.
The beautiful thing is I can use the computer to go back and see what Myrwn played that was wacky over the course of the last couple of years, because Dagda, remember, I love how you brought it out, like it was this strange top build on the Varus. I remember the Locket build for Varus as well, where I can't remember the rest of it, but it was strange to the point where he was tanky in early, he could contribute a lot in team fights thanks to base damage. We'll have to see, because with the Ivern, maybe there is going to be just more on hit. Every single time I see Myrwn, I always feel like I'm going to expect something weird. He'd been playing the Aurora, we've seen the Scion, we've seen the Annie, we've seen a Gragas game from him, and now we get the Varus top as well. Our own little EU the Shy. Oh, man.
But that's the thing, right? This is a player that has always wanted to experiment and always kind of feels like he has something in his back pocket, and now we're going to get to see him once more bring out that creativity, because he was talking about on Euphoria how this was something that he has been working on, which was, I think I've got my work done for me on these more regular picks, so let's try and have some fun and flex around a bit on the other ones.
Well, in our match of the week, you're not disappointed with the draft, are you? Let's roll on in. BDS versus KOI, a best-of-3 fearless that sets your heart on the line. KOI are trying to break out of this rough start against G2 and KC. It was so convincing watching their, I guess, real opener, because we know that KC and G2 hold the top 2 spots. Their opener against Team Heretics was really, really good, but as you all know, BDS had the same matchup against Heretics, and that did not go too well. BDS dropping a very crucial series there, when reminding all, we only take the top 6 in the playoffs. We were so ready to see Myrwn on Aurora. We even have a stat for it. We've got a button for it. Might have to wait.
I mean, BDS knew it was coming just as much as we did, taking that one off the board. But BDS trying to get an early ward in to spot exactly what the pathing is for Elyoya. At 113, I don't think we'll try and look for an invade in the early stages. Maybe could look for one on bottom side of the map if he wanted to. So I think that's why he's starting up on the top end. But it does mean like Myrwn, Jojo should be able to get the push there.
Are you ready for Myrwn's career win rate on Varus? He's 5-1 in his whole career.
That's not bad.
On this Varus top. And yeah, I believe all 6 games were actually seen over the course of last year, at the very least as well. So Myrwn once again starting D-Blade, press the attack in top as well. Fun to watch how this lane plays out, because there's very few things, Dagda, that can actually take on Rumble and kind of survive, or at least withstand the lane.
Yeah, I think it's in a decent spot where you can just keep pushing the wave. You've got quite a long auto attack range himself, so you can just keep pushing Irrelevant back.
Yep.
You're able to hit onto the tower. You can punish him underneath the tower as well. And it, at the level 6 point, it makes it a little bit more difficult to gank you, because you do have that ultimate available to lock down the junglers and try and come in. But definitely going to play into the ability for MKOI to just try and play a range and have multiple carries as they get into the later fights.
The small trades happen down bottom lane. It'll be interesting to see how the objective changes, because I know this is something that we were going to kind of dive into as well, where it feels like this grub percentage is something that a lot of people are focusing on right now. It feels like these objectives in the top side of the map are coming because we're having such strong dynamic top laners as well. And also because, let's be real, I mean, grub games, you get a 5-6 grub games, spawning the mites, your ability to take over the map and get some of these, you know, these tier 1, tier 2 turrets before 20 minutes is actually quite high.
Yeah, I think this is where we're going to be looking to see if they can keep up that pressure. But Elyoya starting to move up onto this top side. I don't think he's going to be able to find particularly much, yeah, I think it's more just for moral support from Myrwn in this top side. You really do want to try and bully out heavily on this top half of the map and make sure that you're in an okay spot.
I love moral support, Dagda. I've been looking for it for years.
You have a wife?
Well, you're the one who... No, but outside of that, you've given it to me, but no one else can give me what you give me, Dagda.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, out of context, people might be confused. We are just colleagues. Okay.
Don't tell Hannah.
Don't tell Hannah. The one night I hope my wife is not watching is 113 bot side. There's
Why
not much
phone just vibrate?
Flash in, pulverize from Alvaro. It's a good engage actually, and match by Supa running in front. First blood is easily done, and a really good start for the 2v2.
Great start in the 2v2 on bottom side. Elyoya kind of already having his impact. Oh, as Jojo has to go forward, wants to make sure he can get the shield and not get caught by the flick back there, so at least get a little bit of his health bar saved. But I think this is something that Elyoya has been very good at, is getting into his lanes early, getting them active on the scoreboard.
Yep.
just to make sure.
Oh my God!
Okay.
He got PTA up, and with full blood stacks on the queue, that's insane. Meanwhile, Nuke going to do the same thing. Jojo in trouble, shifting sand with a small shield to get him out, but Nuke in control of this lane, and Jojo's already teleported back.
Elyoya considering the flash over the wall. Well, I thought it's going to be a flash shield over the wall,
Yeah.
but doesn't hit with the Q. And now Parus, I mean, Ignite walk away.
Dredge Line gets the flash out, but Parus is chill with that. I'd be gleaming.
Yeah, I thought he would just literally walk in and go for the Ignite, but Jojo now hits the level, so he's going to try and stick around for a little bit. Has Alvaro and Elyoya to try and help him out once more, but Parus is back, no Hex Flash, but still needs to be careful.
He does indeed. Dredge Line going to come through, Root Caller just out of range as well. Nuke also paying respect and getting the reset here because the wave is crashing in.
Yeah, I think at this stage, though, Jojo's going to be surprisingly happy with the way that's gone. Like,
You're right.
He did end up taking a pretty horrific trade. Could have lost a huge amount of CS to the turret, but Parus ends up burning his flash to try and get the kill. Jojo's able to escape away, still gets a lot of the wave, and now Alvaro's just helping him crash this so Jojo can get the reset as well. Parus wants to try and hold the wave, and should be able to.
Alvaro missed the pulverize, 1 minion crashes, but yeah, Parus doing a good job, because I was about to say, Dagda, for Nuke, that feels like a bit of a nightmare losing that full wave after how close it was to getting Jojo down. But really nice when your support does that. You're the kind of support that would do that. We know that. We know that.
Look, Hannah's still watching. We can't.
sorry. I thought we got us out of that before, but I'll pull us right back in.
But I think if I'm Elyoya now, I'm pretty happy with the way this early stage has gone, right? Because we've got bot lane in a great spot. Early back with the Sheen and the tier gives you a ton of control in this matchup. You're now able to cover for Myrwn, who off of this first reset should be perfectly fine. And you can continue to put pressure down towards these dragons. And these dragon objectives are more what you want to focus on with this sort of composition to make sure that you can actually play for the poke later.
Yeah, that makes it easier. Dredge Line, though, is going to stop shifting sands. Jojo's in trouble. Or rather, the shifting sands wasn't actually pulled out before, so he has it in his back pocket, gets away. But BDS going towards those grubs we talked a little bit about before. And bottom lane is going to fight it out a bit. Hold your phone there. Well, Supa does have a range advantage here.
Yeah, but didn't have the Ranger's focus, and that's what Supa was trying to play off of there. You can see as he got up to those 4 auto attacks, that's when Supa steps away, so then you can't actually go for that big trade or burst trade as Ice. But now Alvaro and Elyoya down this bottom side as 113 goes for grubs. So this is kind of the trade we're talking about. Movistar KOI getting bot lane ahead in lieu of these top side objectives.
Grubs as well for a rumble, not too bad as well. 113 going to take all of them while Elyoya is a brush, quite obviously so. Just making sure that Parus and Ice are getting negated this wave. Look at the size of it. For Observer, will just bring us back down. That wave is disgustingly large. Ice missed about half of it here. It's going to be about a 5 CS difference here for Supa. Off the back of that, again, pressure.
Yeah, and now they can move over towards the Dragon. And Ice going to look for the reset, so shouldn't really be any sort of contest here. And this has kind of been what we were talking about with those stats earlier, is Movistar KOI haven't been on the forefront when it comes to the dragons, but this is definitely a shift, and I think it makes a lot of sense for them given the composition that we have here. They've been much more focused on playing around, you know, these AP top laners from Myrwn and using the Jojopyun's champion pool as well to try and shift into grub control and then hero control to start snowballing these advantages through towers.
And I also remember that we're talking about Drakes for bot for KOI and the lack thereof, because I think that laning phase wasn't as clean as maybe some of the other top teams, right? We talked a lot about Alvaro and Elyoya, how they sync up as important as we've already seen in this game. But Supa, you know, in that 2v2, wasn't bringing that same dynamic that I think they started and entered the split with.
I think it's also, we've seen some, and even Jojopyun with Janira was talking about on the interview, that there's individual mistakes that are coming into the play, and oftentimes we see them around dragon objectives, which is an individual player trying to push out the boat that bit too far and getting caught out. Whether it's, hey, I can take this 1v1 and like Supa Arc, I'm just saying Supa because he's on the Ezreal, Arcane shifts in and ends up getting caught. Or it's Jojopyun thinks he can make a play with the Emperor's Divide and goes too far and gets caught, right? It's these little things that can come back to bite them, and I think it's a little heartbreaking because when you look back at like even the KC series, Movistar KOI looked pretty damn good in the early stages, and then it was these little errors that got them caught out and brought KC into a much better position for the remainder of the game and remainder of the series. So I'm keeping my eyes on that to see if BDS can punish.
It was talked about in our hype video that KOI can be a little bit too hypey, right? And for BDS, they can lack to pull the trigger. It's kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, I feel like, and that's what's really important to note here, is that if you look at the comps, it's like, okay, I can see KOI here with triple AD carry and an Enchanter engage. And I see BDS with a comp that maybe wants to spike off mid-jungle pressure, Dagda, that picks from Ice, the setup of engage, and take down that one unit in front of an objective.
But that's the thing now, right? Because you look at, oh, well, how are they growing their leads from Movistar KOI to play through a team comp that needs to be ahead, right? Well, Myrwn's been doing a great job himself, but Elyoya already got that play on bottom side to set up Supa now, so, twice. So Supa now nearly 600 gold ahead, you got a 300 gold lead from Myrwn in that top side, and as long as you can keep these advantages for the individual side lanes, it becomes much easier to dictate the pace of the game, get on the objective first, use your range advantage from that position. But 113 wants to change that, but a good ward to spot him out.
Of course he does. I mean, it's 113 we're talking about. He wants to go in. None of this sitting back and lollygagging. None of this 4 giants belt either. He's on a mission and he needs to get it first.
We don't know. We don't know what he's going to go with yet. Yeah. There is plenty of time for more of those belts. You know?
There's only 900 gold or something now. That's cheap.
Yeah. I mean, it just scales really well with his abilities.
Yep.
And as you saw, you've got so many different items that you can build them into. I think this time around, though, because you're playing at such a range disadvantage, probably not going to go for it. I think he's going to prioritize things like the Dead Man's Place, maybe even going for Force of Nature, these movement speed items, just to try and help close that distance when the Nautilus sets up for a Thrash engage or a hook or whatever that might be.
True, because it's a good point, isn't it? Running into things like Azir, Varus, Ivern, like there's a lot of stop and start that he's going to have to play with. Merc Tread's value I might just add in as well for things like Ivern, maybe Varus ulti, maybe Alistar Trample. An afterthought as well. We'll see where they go from there. But hey, at the very least, I want to bring it back to the fact that Myrwn is 20 CS ahead in this lane. Has actually been bullying out the Rumble a lot. And as I said at the start, there are very few things that can bully out a Rumble to this degree. But an 80 carry top, as any pro top laner knows, is the most painful thing to go up against. Everyone hates 80 carry tops. You don't make friends, but you do win games.
Yeah. But the difference between when you play it, Hysterics, and this is the amount of vision control that's on that bottom side to set up for Myrwn. So they can basically spot out like what's happening. So they're not actually going to try and contest here. But I just want to highlight like one, two, three. There was another ward that was just down there. And Elyoya is just playing in this part of the map continuously and basically acting as another ward for the top half. So you're able to over-index into that vision on the bottom side and then use Elyoya as this fancy-looking yoke as a tree that actually spotting everything else.
Fancy-looking yoke?
Yeah.
Like an egg?
Yeah. Well, yoke is just like a fake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like you're a mad yoke, you know?
Oh, okay. New word acquired. Elyoya's coming in. And 113 started up the grubs, and it feels like KOI are not going to give this overhandedly. Nuke looking for the wall, but the first might comes down, and that's 4. Might's acquired. Elyoya's already brought out Daisy to the show, making it a 5v5 if BDS bring more members in, but Myrwn's not going to leave this lane, and KOI are just going to take the 2 grubs after BDS give it up.
Yeah, it's a nice sneak by BDS, so mid lane hadn't been crashed by Jojopyun yet, so 113 could just about get in there as Elyoya was on reset, and just finding that little bit of a window to steal away one, but still, managing to pick up some is nice, but it won't be too much as 4 grubs picked up for BDS, and with Dragon now in 10 seconds time, I think this is more the focus that Movistar KOI will be looking at.
Just a side note, when I see Daisy hitting grubs, it's like letting 2 kids fight each other and not breaking it up. It's a little slap fight. You're like, stop it.
I think, though, actually looking at the map state, I think Movistar KOI would like to try and play for this Dragon, but your TP that is available is on the bottom side. You don't have that for Jojopyun. Nuke is able to join in with this play. So I think you're probably going to see Myrwn push in this wave, reset, and try and swap with Jojopyun. But I think that might actually just give enough time to BDS to look for the Dragon and the take in the middle of it. So I'm curious how Movistar KOI want to try and play with this advantage. You can see here, that's Myrwn trying to look for that reset timer, but I think at this stage, yeah, it's just it's going to be a BDS objective off of just where the teleport is stationed on the map for Movistar KOI.
Okay, well, they're obviously going to be first in river regardless. Ice also got push in mid to add to that point, so Alvaro, as he tries to clear away, it'll be Myrwn who teleports to his turret. Quite safe indeed. He's got experimental hex plate, so he's an ulti bot. Like we said, we're going to expect interesting builds from this top laner as BDS definitely control the river, but Jojo controls the lane. Ulti out into Nuke. A shutback is really nice too, but Jojo doesn't continue any far forward. He's low on mana, and Nuke with a full bar looking to poke him out to make it an even health.
Yeah, Jojo wanted to try and trade his health bar for Nuke, so if Nuke TP's in, he's just not a factor. But now Supa going on towards Ice in the mid lane. Good trading from Ice, but Alvaro and Elyoya aren't there to follow up, and Ice!
Barrage tags him, almost dies. There's a fight brewing in river as well, and with the root call, Parus goes nowhere. Alvaro unfortunately picks up the kill, but for KOI, it's one at the cost of Dragon.
Yeah, BDS just didn't need to take the fight. They could have just backed off there. They'd gotten the the Dragon. Maybe a little unsure if they were able to leave Ice alone underneath that mid tower, but still, it's a kill from Movistar KOI. And now they're starting to control that bottom side jungle, which may net that bot lane tower to boot as well.
While the pressure continues in top, I mean, those mid laners are still fighting it out. And Jojo's TP, but with low health bar, low mana bar, he's just defending passively. While Nuke, also known as Unk, continues pushing in this wave. Arrow, good little dodge from Jojo, but it's into the seismic shove. He is your Unk! Solid kill for Nuke.
That's so hard for Jojopyun to play out. Like, you're either getting hit by the Ashe arrow or you're getting hit by the flick. And it's really well orchestrated by BDS. Nuke picks up that kill off the back of us. And again, I mean, it's nice for BDS to start getting these kills and map, but they need to start looking at these turret plates, because if they let this game continue the way it's going, Myrwn's still growing that lead. You still got that bot lane lead opening up as well. They need more of this for BDS to try and shut down Movistar KOI.
While Nuke was backing top, I heard the sound animation of Taliyah Weaver's wall. I think he accidentally pressed R. So for what that's worth, with Herald coming up in a minute, Nuke does not have ult.
Good catch.
It seems like a bit of a mistake. I heard it and I'm like, but she just didn't go anywhere.
Well, BDS want to try and go into the jungle of Movistar KOI in this top side. It's a little dangerous, but it does mean they will get first access on towards mid. It's trying to get across for this Rift Tail. It's in 30-second time, but basically just trying to control this area so they can move to Rift Tail. But I think Movistar KOI can...
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, well, what can they do with Alvaro now popping the Unbreakable Will? BDS with a really good pick there, and as we said, 25 seconds as to what the Chinese broadcast would call the Pioneer spawning. What happened here? Let's have a look.
This is the, so basically, oh, okay, he used the, so that was, it was the ult to interrupt. Yeah, it was the ult to interrupt Jojopyun, but then it's just basically playing for this ultimate to come through from Ice. So Jojo uses the shuffle to get away from that, but when you don't have shuffle, it's so much easier than to hit that seismic shove, and Nuke does just that. But what I was going to say was, as we start to move in, cool, BDS hard focused on mid wave to get the push, but I actually thought the Movistar KOI were going to just trade for bot lane tower, but they're moving everyone up here to try and contest.
They haven't really willingly given up anything so far in this game, and again, they want to fight. That's what we know about the Fishes. All in, Supa just arcane shift in front of Ice. He gets auto down, flushes away, but there's no ulti for Alvaro. They're engaging with a cow without the horns. And again, that Pioneer is going to be taken down. BDS with the Herald and a good state from the pick.
There was no need for Movistar KOI to try and contest this. We talked about the strengths of the composition being, hey, let's look for poke, let's set up on the objective early. If you're going to be late, look for the cross map. And BDS, they punish well. Another big ultimate coming through from Ice just to set up a kill. And now, tower on top side, you've got the Rift Herald. Now this is BDS starting to take control of this game.
And again, Nuke is in a good spot when we talked a lot about on the desk. How Nuke is very pivotal. We have to have a pause, guys. I don't think we had one in the Fnatic game, did we?
Yeah, no, this is the mandatory one.
Yeah. See, Fnatic didn't bring us one, so it's been rolled over.
It's actually so Sharks can get out and teach you all how to do the Macarena once again, because apparently that's needed.
That was good.
It is a Movistar KOI game, so that is necessary. But
so if they start finding fights, then maybe we can lean into the Macarena more, because that was a good day. That was a very good day.
Do you know the Macarena?
Of course I do. Okay, I did it in primary school.
Look, I don't know what happens in Oslo.
In high school. No, we did. Okay, here are our dances at school. The Nut Bush. You know what the Nut Bush is?
No.
You know, Nut Bush City Limits. You know that song?
No. But keep singing it. Maybe it'll, maybe it'll pop up in my head.
The Macarena. And Cha-Cha Slide was later on.
Cha-Cha Slide, yeah.
Yeah, slide to the left. No, but that's way too late. I think that was it. I don't know. We don't get out much in Australia. We don't do much.
I thought all you had was out. I thought that was the whole thing. It was like, it's sunny all the time, so you just existed.
Well, but out over there is in. So I don't actually stay inside much. That's being out.
Oh, okay.
Right? So being out is it. Remember, everything's opposite. Yeah. We're learning together. That's learning.
I might be
I think.
Teach if it's the other way around. I don't really understand it.
Yeah, look, to be fair, my country, and I've lost anyway. So. Well, how do you think I ended up here? I thought I was going home. I landed on the other side. Planes don't operate the way they do in this hemisphere.
Yeah, Berlin and Melbourne, very close.
They sound so limited. They both do coffee. one just slightly better than the other. I'll leave that up to interpretation as Dredgeline starts off the fight. Alvaro, great engage though. Pulverize back as Isis deflect, but he can't get through. There's a solid wall in the way, and Supa is firing away. Myrwn the same as his AD carry comp at a great spot, and flies in as Jojo. 113 gets his ulti off, but Jojo's already done the damage. And yes, he'll burn down on the MKOI with 4 strong members and a root caller. You disrespected the tree, and the tree disrespects him.
The bird may have gone down, but he serves up the roast dinner for Movistar KOI there. Perfectly set up for BDS to be taken down, and that was it. Exactly what Movistar KOI needed. BDS over the last few plays had started to get these picks, get the towers down, get that advantage in tempo where they could start to set up on the objective first. But here, they just bought out more they can chew. Great flash from Alvaro onto ice, sends him packing immediately, and they're able to follow up on that. And then at this point, you're just fishing a barrel. Everyone in Movistar KOI is chasing you down. Great flash from Jojopyun to set this up, and sure, he dies for it, but you end up with another kill there. It's a double kill, actually, for Azir. And now, rinse and repeat? Question mark. Is Ripchild going to be put down?
At least it narrows the gold gap, but also look what that fight did. 1k gold lead in top, 1k gold lead 80 carry. Strong members of KOI here, and 2.5k gold lead as the Herald tries to regain some of that, but Chains of Corruption just out of range. Alvaro again with a good engage. Root Caller down as well as Irrelevant is now overheating, but the Cal happy to absorb with the Redemption, healing him up. The auto attacks are weaving and flying, and the teleport is going to be dying as 113 is free target. Parus re-engages, but BDS are all over the place, and Jojo loves those odds. Nuke falling back, Supa falling in, Seismic shove out, the turret helping out, Supa not dead,
so
but
low.
meanwhile Irrelevant is just trying to claw back, while Myrwn is sitting autoing here like he has all fight. Irrelevant, if he runs in, I don't know about those odds, but it's now getting brisk with some of these fights.
There's so many skill shots to dodge as BDS, and they just can't manage it. Nuke ends up TPing in completely to the wrong position, which doesn't help either. And Movistar KOI, when it started to be a bit more of an equal game, now 3.2 thousand gold ahead. And so much of that has gone into the hands of Myrwn off the back of that play. We'll check it out here as we come into it. So BDS, group is 4 on this, but Movistar KOI are 5. Like, look at the bottom side. Nuke is still pushing in. So that's why Movistar KOI look for the engage. Ice already chunked out as the fight starts. And then this TP, this is not a safe place. 113 is trying to step up to protect his mid laner, but it means that he ends up falling. And as Parus tries to go in, it's just this rotating door of Movistar KOI DPS carries moving into position. Supa gets saved by Nuke in this position as well. But it just is like, you pop over his shoulder and Myrwn takes a shot to get a triple kill.
Look me, hope! Okay. Jojo's real voice? Well, I mean, he's having big fights. Look, 4k damage, and, you know, we talked a lot about this as Nuke might be caught out yet again here. Myrwn on top of him. The damage is going to be immense. He's dead. Myrwn's got a Quintus now, and he gets the base AD from Experimental Hex Plate. He's dealing damage. As BDS trying to do that same damage to the turret, they're still trying to open mid.
Jojo's still on a flank here. I don't know if BDS have spotted him out yet. Will now know that he is there, but you still got to be very careful. Alvaro can come over that wall incredibly quickly, but it looks like Movistar KOI just trying to keep pressure up so they can get that tower on the top side.
You know, we've had this discussion over weeks, from winter to summer, spring, excuse me, to get ahead of the wheel. As Myrwn's just going to find top turret, and also with his attack speed rolling through, it'll be an easy job. But Jojo's improved a lot. Jojo's laning's improved a lot, and Jojo, just as a team fighter, feels like as well in this game alone.
And he talked about on Euphoria, is like, look, he hasn't been impressed with the way that he's been playing. Feels like he hasn't shown everything that he can, and it has been a bit of getting used to moving to a completely different continent, trying to find your rhythm with the rest of the team, but definitely started to step up, and I think okay.
Arrow, hit Supa, instant cleanse. Here comes the Weaver's Wall as well, while on the turret 113 is getting chunked out again. These 80 carries will not stop. Alvaro flashes away from the depth charge, but even with the dredge line in, this is an Ivern. He's got shielding, he's got time, but he doesn't have a health bar. Irrelevant made short work of that as Nuke again. Seismic shove, Jojo gets over the wall. We're complimenting them, but BDS still have the will to live.
But Movistar KOI will continue to push. It's only Myrwn who's shown up now after getting that top lane turret. So mid lane, despite heroic efforts from BDS, will still fall.
It's crazy how close it looks. It was a 1-for-1 in the end. But it's good. This game is ramping up. Almost a 5k gold lead, yes, but BDS, they land an arrow, they land Seismic shove. Skarner gets an ulti. Irrelevance damage will follow through, as you'll soon see. It's surprising to see such a strong Rumble when he's 2,000 gold down and 50 CS down. He's still got damage.
Yeah, kind of the Rumble special, but
yeah.
Jojo did TP down to this bottom side, which is why BDS immediately started to ping up and congregate on him, thinking an early Atakan might be the name of the game here for Movistar KOI, but I think they might have been a little over-eager in thinking they were able to achieve that. So BDS just got to spot out exactly what Movistar KOI are up to.
Alvaro also shadowing for the time being as well. Good ward inside the pit, but Alvaro going to get rid of that immediately. Atakan could be a bit of a flip, but is it really going to be worth it as Ice moves into position as well? But KOI have their sight on mid and top wave as well, it seems, for Myrwn. Can be a flourishing bounce back. KOI, they're that strong that wherever they move, respect is given over and BDS back off.
Yeah, don't want to try and give away too much, but still it's a slow and steady pace here from Movistar KOI, getting the waves, pushing them in, just trying to establish vision. Again, like, this is a composition that you kind of need that vision setup to make work. And as Dragon is there, you can see they're happy to fall back to it, and every entrance into River is covered by some vision from Movistar KOI.
With third Dragon on the horizon, Dagda, I see fire. Very good song, very good angle for KOI.
You gonna sing that one as well?
Not now, but there will be a way. Ed Sheeran copyright incoming.
Wait a sec.
They're going to do Atakan. They're going to chain this, and look at where BDS are on the map.
Yeah, Nuke does have the teleport, but they've had zero idea of what's been happening in this river this entire time. They try to push mid for the tower, but Supa covered, and now can they get in for the 50-50?
But Alvaro, he's free range right now, so he doesn't care. He'll walk into any bush, anytime, anywhere. Trick-shot barrage, equalizer down, but it's still not imminent because the Weaver's wall over the wall makes it so in case there was. There is not a shove back, ascend in. Jojo ran into melee range. The arrow gets him, but again, he can just withdraw. Irrelevant will go golden. He's candy in front of the baby, and baby will take it. Alvaro doesn't even burn over the edge in the end as Myrwn becomes godlike. KOI become more set up for game one.
More set up for Baron as well, which is just about to spawn. Only Jojo losing that revive is going to be massive for this upcoming fight, and you kind of have to stop this as BDS, because a Baron that then lets them take all these outer towers just makes it incredibly difficult for you to now fight for a potential third Infernal Soul Dragon for Movistar KOI. But you see here, Alvaro does a great job of interrupting 113 as he tries to go over the wall. That's why Jojo ulted as well. Thought that maybe 113 could be coming over, but it's just trying to stop him from getting to Atakan. And then at this stage, they just think, cool, let's just see what we can get. It is the Unraveled Earth from Nuke that ends up interrupting them, which I think Jojo wasn't expecting, but Movistar KOI still get like 1-for-1. Jojo's back on the map, and that vision that was covering that bottom side has now been shifted to the top end.
And I mean, completely visioned out. KOI still with 4 GAs available too, and I believe it'll be for another minute 30, so should cover the full extent of the ban, while midway from Supa will just be an easy rotate to the purple one.
For BDS, it's so hard to try and look for picks to bring this game back. The early MKOs that we've already seen used by Elyoya means Ice's power is just insignificant. Irrelevant is only on 2 items when you look at 3 items pretty much coming in across the board for the other side. So you're just getting outpaced across the board. And unfortunately for Nuke, like, the Taliyah just can't 1v9 this game.
This is why I looked forward to seeing Myrwn in Fearless.
Yeah.
Because the format suits him so much. He's got such an extensive champion pool. Who expects the enemy top laner to pick up bloody Varus? Like, I know he's 5-1 on it, but still, like, Myrwn can go on for days with what he's got in a BO3, hell, even a BO5.
Especially the fact that you can get the Varus in the first rotation, do the second ban phase, then get Ezreal. And the enemy team is like, wait, no, that's what we wanted. No, you're not allowed to do that. So I think it's stuff like that that just makes it so good for Movistar KOI that you have this flexibility. And again, it was Myrwn who was talking about it, like, this is something that Movistar KOI wanted to start to bring to the forefront again. It was work on the foundations of our gameplay, and once we feel a little bit more comfortable with that, then bring in that flair, and it's kind of popping off at the moment.
It really is, and it's a great sign when, again, we talked about the story of KOI so far in this split with their ramp up after such a heavy early schedule. It was so easy against Team Heretics. I mean, I felt like we got the KOI from, you know, winter of last year with the debut, obviously without Jojo, with FLICKR, but still last year, the big pro moments that we remember KOI for. And as I lose my voice slightly, I have to tell you one thing, that you mentioned 3 items for the Varus. We've also got a Seeker's Arm Guard, so if there is any pick, that Varus is going to delay the inevitable, it feels like, at level 16 at this point in the game.
Yeah, he's having a grand old time. I'm not going to lie. So, and even the 3.5 items for Supa are there as well. It's a little bit delayed for Jojopyun, but he didn't get as much help in the early game as his side lanes did, but you're still in a phenomenal spot as Movistar KOI. Now as BDS is checking blind to all this range, you can see Parus already taking a couple of taps from these soldiers as he tries to enter to get some vision. Not even in river, just in the bush to get to river.
Yeah.
Says a lot about where BDS's prospects are right now.
Can't even get through the front door at this point. KOI waiting. The death brush imminent. Parus the one to face check, but level 10 Nautilus. Sees everyone moving out. The poke from 113 is trying to do the same thing as well. Not even sure this guy can survive, but Alvaro knows that. Root caller down, the Skarner hit hard, and look at this. Supa gets the kill, but you see it's not over yet. The arrow to fly up, but BDS and members down. Equalize not bad, but Supa is ripping through. Nukes the next target, easy as that. He's going to take the triple, but Myrwn will not extend that any further. This is Myrwn's kill now. He sets up for the auto. Jojo to take. And these 3 on-hit carries are living life to the fullest.
And immediately Jojo TP's the bot lane. You've got these massive waves that you can look to play through. We'll just rejoin on mid. And MKOI looking to end this game right here.
And in fashion as well, you have to say this game won. BDS's early game, there were some real brilliant moments, but once KOI snagged it, they held on to it, and now match of the week. The fish is still swimming, and they're still swimming real good to open up the series.
Jojo having a little bit of fun at the end of this one. The tower will fall. And save Myrwn! Save the KDA!
Deathless on the Varus top. He is now 6-1 on the champ in his career. That is a good win rate.